Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman, and today we have Mollie Engelhart from Engelhart. Welcome, Mollie.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
I'm so excited to meet you. Thank you so much for having us here. Your farm is amazing.
Yes, it's been a dream of mine, and it's came into shape, form, and experience here in the world.
I want to go home with a goat.
Yeah, everybody wants that. They're the cutest thing ever. Their little velvety ears.
Your farm is amazing. So I just want everybody to, learn a little bit about you and what you're doing because it's just beautiful. And let's start with, what is Engelhart?
Well, to start with what Engelhart is my real job is I'm a chef. And
No, not your real job.
No, because that's what it came from, is that, I'm a chef, I own restaurants, and I realized that we were putting so much food into the landfill. And everybody wants to talk about cars are the problem or cows are the problem, but really food waste, creating methane, is the number one problem in the world when it comes to greenhouse gases. And we're all participating in that. We all throw food in the trash. And when I realized that I'm a chef and I'm throwing tons, and I don't mean like that as a expression, like tons of food every day into the trash, the bottom of cauliflower, the bottoms of broccoli, the tops of carrots. And so I realized I need to have a farm so I can compost it, turn it into soil, and then make it into food to send it back to the restaurants. And that is how Engelhart came to be. It was a long journey, but that is how we ended up with the farm, via Sage Vegan Bistro, and then Engelhart came to deal with the compost from the restaurants.
You started off as a chef.
Yeah.
Had the restaurants.
Yeah.
And then built the farm.
Yeah, I started out as a pot grower, and then I got good at cooking, or I was always good at cooking, so I was a latchkey kid, and so I used that skill. I used that skill to turn into restaurants, yeah. And then I went back from pot farming back to regular farming after this now. So, but no, my real job is I'm a chef, and we do this farm, regenerative agriculture, to give the best ingredients to my restaurant, to have the most nutrient-dense food possible giving to my guests, because I really believe that the connection between healthy soil and healthy human beings is so closely related, and that when you look at the microbiology in healthy soil and the microbiology in a healthy gut, it is the same. And so we know that is what we're meant to be doing. And so I am trying
You're not related to Ryland, are you?
I am related to Ryland Engelhart. We're both very passionate about soil. It's a big thing in our family. My dad was always like, the only bank account that matters is the soil. And I'm like, well, I hope that's true. But yes, we are always banking carbon. That's our motto in this family.
So have you always had a passion around this?
No, I was just like a regular LA. I moved to Los Angeles, went to film school, made a few films, got a film into Sundance, like the regular LA bullshit. And then I was like, I'm going to grow some pot, and then I'm open a restaurant. And I, drew out of a hybrid, drank my oat milk latte, bought my organic vegetables, used bags at the store, and was like, I'm really not doing shit for the environment, but I guess I'm doing the best that I can. And I heard a podcast from this guy, Graham Sate, that my brother sent to me. And it was the first time that I had hope that there was a solution and that we could be part of it. We could be part of nature and grow the best food.
So what was it that he said that resonated with you that made you feel that way?
He said that we can reverse what's happened. Like, this is not about sustainable. This is about regeneration. This is about how do we bring down that gas that we've put up there into the top 8 inches of topsoil at quantities that we've never talked about before. And I thought, if this is a scientific solution, how come nobody's talking about it? And then I just started talking about it. And I convinced nobody to buy a farm. So I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta be the one to buy a farm. And so then I tried for a long time to buy a farm. My husband was undocumented, so no bank would give us a loan. And then finally we got a private person to give us a loan. And this is how Engelhart Farm came to be.
And now you have a farm, and now you produce all the produce to feed all the people that go to your 2 restaurants? 4 restaurants. Sorry, my fault. 4 restaurants.
4 restaurants, yeah. And we do 250 boxes to families in Los Angeles
CSAs.
as well. Yeah, CSAs. And it's not all of the produce to our restaurant. We have big, 5,000 square foot restaurants. So we have other farms are supporting our restaurants as well. But we are a farm to table concept, and we do buy directly from many small farms, including my own. But all of the compost from all of those farms comes back to this farm and turns back into soil, and then goes back to the restaurant in the form of an avocado, an orange, a cabbage.
That's amazing. So now talk to me about your restaurant. So you started off as a film student, and then you were a pot grower, and then you became an entrepreneur.
I was a poet. I was on HBO Def Poetry and all that for a little while
Oh.
too. Missed that part, but yes.
Okay.
So I opened a restaurant with my best girlfriend. We first started to do just vegan ice cream, raw vegan ice cream.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we just digress for 1 second? Were you ever involved in the family restaurant?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
No. Okay. Just checking.
I'm like, I had enough of those
growing
question of the days growing up. And I grew up in a very spiritual, affirmation-y family, and I'm always like, okay, yes, we're all grateful. Okay, let's get to work. I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say grounded, but I'm just I have a different view of life. I'm still very grateful, much appreciation for God.
What are you grateful for today?
What am I grateful for today? My beautiful family, my beautiful farm, my husband.
Okay,
I am grateful. I don't know about it as a restaurant concept for me. So we never worked. I opened at the same time as them. I just didn't get popular. It took my restaurants much longer to get popular. We both opened our LA stores in March of 2011, and then it took much more time. But so me and my girlfriend started an ice cream shop. Woody Harrelson and my dad were doing this challenge to be raw for I don't know how long, and I kept making raw ice cream for them, and then that led into us opening an ice cream shop. And my best girlfriend, she was pregnant, and she was like, I can't be an actress, it's too unstable. And I was like, I can't be a pot grower because my brother-in-law went to prison. And so we were like, let's start an ice cream shop. And we had high hopes for this ice cream shop. It was too niche of a market, raw vegan ice cream. So
there was actually one in New York that was really good, Lulu's Apothecary.
Yeah.
But it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore. It is too niche.
It's
really good on Instagram, but is it really good at the bottom line? That's the question.
It was very expensive to make.
And it was very expensive. And so we opened this ice cream shop, and then we opened Sage, and then we opened another one. My girlfriend passed away in 2018 of breast cancer. But it was a blessing because if she had just stayed to be an actress, her daughter would not be able to be taken care of the way that she is now. So I feel grateful that we made all the choices that we did, even though she did pass away. But so we started this restaurant, and now it's very successful. I think it's one of the most successful vegan restaurants in Los Angeles. We have 4 locations and a brewery.
Wow. So when you went into it though, as an entrepreneur, you had no experience as an entrepreneur.
Oh, I had experience as an entrepreneur because I'd done lots.
As a poet, because you were a poet.
I had a recording studio.
Oh, okay.
I had a lemonade stand when I was 8. But I've never been afraid of failure. Every successful person you've ever met has oh, I was living in my car, I was this, I was that. So I've had tons of failed stuff.
Okay.
And tons of successes.
Right. So you weren't afraid, and you're just I'm doing this with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And was there a plan? Was it
No, I was
out?
okay, I'm growing pot. We're just kind of siphon the money off. And then it was a mess in the health department, and I had to learn all on the way. And then I had to stop growing pot. And we just learned as we went.
So you learned on the go.
Learned on the job.
On the job.
With everything. Same with farming. I didn't know how to grow hops. I'm scrappy.
I'm scrappy. I think that's the best way to be.
And people always say even now when I raise money for a new restaurant, I'll send out a business plan. But I'm okay, this is numbers made up on a piece of paper by somebody who thinks they know how this restaurant's going to go. Nobody knows how it's going to go. So you can look at all those numbers, but it's a bunch of bull. People will always be kids will come to me getting out of college. I'm making this business plan. I'm great. And I'll give them advice on it because that's what you do when you're an entrepreneur. But I'm always yeah, this is all made up. Nobody knows how it's going to go. And 50% of this stuff is not even going to line up with what the reality of the costs are because stuff is changing always. And to be a successful business person, you just have to be able to adapt to whatever's happening. And I believe there's 3 qualities to success in entrepreneurialness. It's to see an opportunity and take it when it's there and available to take. even if it seems scary or you don't want to.
Seize the moment.
Seize the moment. The next one is to not be talking yourself out of anything. People, 90% of people talk their own self out of their own success because their brain wants to know how it's going to be 10 steps out in the future. Always just take the next step. Do not talk yourself out of anything. Just take the next step. I always take the next step. People are like, are we really going to open a restaurant here? I don't know. It came across my path. We're checking it out. And that's how I do stuff. Take the next step. Take the next step. And you have to be willing to look stupid, and you have to follow through. You have to go the distance, because nothing is successful right in the beginning. Well, not nothing. Some things, like right out of the blocks, are successful. But 9 times out of 10, you got to work some shit out, and it's going to go left and right. And oh my God, we're losing money. I'm a rat in a wheel. How am I going to do it? Where are my costs? And then you got to follow through. You don't quit. Anybody who quits the first year, people will be like, I've been doing this for 7 months and we haven't made any money. And I'm like, oh God. And I just laugh because I'm like, yeah, of course you haven't made any money 7 months. Like, it took me 3 years to make money in my Culver City's restaurant. It's now a $7 million restaurant. But I failed for 3 years. I had to take calls from investors for 3 years explaining that I just don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm sorry.
I think people often believe that they're going to make money overnight, and they look at people and they're like, well, that company did it.
I think that there is the occasional overnight success, and I've seen them, but people
it's not
thought
the rule.
it
It's not
isn't.
the rule.
People thought Cafe Gratitude, when my dad came to LA, was an overnight success, but they didn't know he'd been doing it for 7 years in the Bay and having all types of challenges, and getting his feet wet and learning on the job. He didn't know. My dad was a carpenter and in the fashion industry, or a carpenter then in the fashion industry. Knew nothing about restaurants when he started Cafe Gratitude, and so we have to be willing to try something, and to try for a long time. And so if you're going to start a business, what I have to say is, like, are you still willing to be doing this business if you're not rich next year or the year after the year after? That's what you want to choose. And people always say, like, oh, choose something you love at and then you'll never be working. Like, no, bullshit. Choose something you're good at and that you can make a difference in the world at. Because that people are like, well, I can paint this log. Like, okay, well, only 10 people maybe want to buy that log painted by you. So that might be your passion, but that can be your hobby, and you can do that and have an Instagram page for it and everything. But choose something that you are good at and that makes a difference in the world. And then you will always feel the fulfillment of making other people's lives better. Not like, oh my God, I'm so fulfilled because I paint logs. No, don't do that.
So why do you do food?
Because food is life.
I agree with you. I love food.
Because the foundation of everything is food. The craziness is that 70% of farmers in this country are working a second job to keep the farm, and these are the people that are feeding us. Like, the foundation of all that we are is food and water. The food system is being centralized in the way that many other systems have been centralized, and then when that happens fully and we no longer have small farms like this, we won't even know what is in our food, because there's so much gray and so much behind the curtain around our food. And so I wanted to be able to have people go to a restaurant and feel good. Like, I know what is in this food. I know that it's nourishing my body, and I don't have to be suspect that maybe a Cisco truck is pulling up behind while they're saying this on the front facing, and then they're serving me corn syrup on the back facing. I wanted to have something that nourished people.
How do you communicate that to your customers?
I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram, the farm has an Instagram, the restaurant has an Instagram. We have TV cameras in the restaurants playing stories about the farm, not TV cameras, TV monitors in the, so I don't know, it's constantly a hard job. I mean, people are always saying, I didn't know you had a farm, and I'm like, but I think people have to see something like 11 times or 7 times until they know it, and so it's a job to communicate that. But what was very rewarding is during the pandemic, we got so many calls that said, I'm on a fixed income right now, or I don't have this, or we're in one income, but we're still going out to eat once a week or getting takeout once a week. And it's from you because I trust you, because I see that what you're doing, because we're following you and all of that. So I do feel like it is resonating with people, and it's a job to get that communication out there.
And it's amazing, because people need to know how to make an informed choice. And you're giving them the information so they can make an informed choice, and they're choosing you.
I think that informed consent is one of the most important values that we should hold on to. So yes.
So what's new and what's next for you?
I just bought 200 acres in Texas, and we are opening restaurants in Texas.
And are you going to have a local farm there? So that...
Yes, 200 acres.
Oh,
we
right,
bought.
You did just say that. Sorry.
Yeah, we're setting it up right now. Greenhouses are being put in, and we're putting up fencing so the deer can't get, and we're going to start, hopefully this summer, we'll start producing food there.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. When are you hoping to?
I hope we'll have our first restaurant open in San Antonio by the end of this year.
Wow, you'll have to keep us posted.
I definitely will.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.